If you've been shopping for your next used luxury vehicle, because everybody knows that's where the best bang for buck is, then you probably want to make sure that you get a vehicle that's quality, reliable, and isn't going to cost you an arm and 3 legs. But guess what? 3 years has passed by and the warranty's expired. Is it in fact safe to own that vehicle? I'm going to definitely share a list of 10 of the most reliable luxury vehicles, more reliable than Noah's Ark. Let's get into it now. Life's too short to drive boring cars. So the first luxury car that you could probably safely take outside of warranty would be this beautiful little rig here. What we're clearly looking at is a BMW. It's a 330. That means it's a later generation. We obviously have the better generation, a more reliable engine under the hood here. This has what they call the B48 engine, which actually has a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder, heat encapsulation, better bottom end, better fuel injection system, and better heating and cooling than some of their outgoing models with the engines like the N55. This has some great alloy wheels, laser cut like that, beautiful mirrors, and of course, look, well, this is kind of damaged, but it does give you a big sunroof and a gorgeous interior. This one has this nice bone colored interior, comes with xDrive as well as these beautiful LED lights, and because it has that 8-speed ZF automatic transmission means it's ultra durable. The transmission's one of the best in the business, knows how you're driving, knows how you want to drive, and that engine is now glorified as being one of the best engines in BMW's lineup. The only engine better, in my opinion, would be its big brother, the turbo 3-liter called the B58. Oh, what is this? Oh yes, we're talking about a Lexus. Oh yes, this is one of those vehicles that's definitely gonna last a long time. Yes, because it's a Lexus, because it's a Toyota product, but this has one of the best engines, best sounding, sonorous sounding engines you could possibly dream of. Obviously, beautiful tail lights on this, big bold tail pipes on there as well. This is an LC500. That means this comes with a V8 engine that's really naturally aspirated, 5-liter V8, high revving, well dialed in, bent not to break. It's gonna run a long time, and it gives you actually a significant amount of performance. Yes, you get the big grille right here, all over there. Not a lot of people love it, but it's an acquired taste. I love the checkmark design here and those big lights right there. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at the profile of this vehicle. It is beautiful. We have some chrome on this particular unit. You have a little suede around the driver pod right there. Of course, beautiful LC500 mirrors, because that's where the term came from. This is an LC500, and those mirrors are adopted in some of their other models. Of course, big, beautiful hood on there. You have a 10-speed automatic transmission. It shifts quick. It drives fast. 0 to 60, 4.5 seconds. Fun, amazing, absolutely love this vehicle. You can also get this in an LC500H, which is basically a V6, and it has electric drive as well, so you can get sort of more of the environmentalist perspective. But the LC500, like this one here with the naturally aspirated V8, is the car you want to have. Love it. Guaranteed to last at least 10 years or 300,000 miles. And here's another car that definitely hits the spot for one of those reliable luxury cars that you definitely have to consider. If you want reliability and you're not worried about owning it outside of warranty, these are definitely the vehicle. We have a pair here. Obviously, here's a 2020 right there, and here we have a 2021 Acura TLX. As you can see, big, glorious, and all kinds of technology abound. Now, there are some bad years. 2014, 2015 is actually considered the worst. Transmission problems, electrical issues, weak brakes and suspension parts, but things have gotten better. And remember, Acura is essentially the big brother of Honda, and Honda is always considered one of the most reliable go-to vehicles. Now, it is a luxury vehicle, and some luxury car owners would never admit to owning a front-wheel drive vehicle. No self-respecting luxury vehicle would have front-wheel drive, but that's not necessarily always true. It's a great brand, has great technology. You really can't give this up. You've got to look for it. Now, base model comes with a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder engine, makes about 272 horsepower. As well, you can step it up to a Type S that gets you a 3-liter twin turbo V6 that makes and gives you a whopping and astounding 355 horsepower. You also get a 10-speed automatic transmission in this unit, and that shifts things along quite nicely. Lots of technology, Android Auto, CarPlay, all of the tech that you could possibly dream up. And yes, they have gorgeous headlights, but you'll notice this model here in a 2021 has this style of headlight, where the 2020 has this type of look. Of course, this type of grille here, slightly different. You know, lots of plastic, but they hold up quite well. That big A is quite a beefy looking piece, as is this. Gorgeous looking unit, beautiful rims on here, gorgeous mirror there, of course, with LED strips, sunroof on both models, and of course, I love these handles by Acura. They're very sleek, one-touch accent in, and of course, the interior is absolutely gorgeous. Circle around, and here we go. We have a TLX, and as I say, Front wheel drive is standard, but shh, the all-wheel drive is actually an option to give you all four wheels clomping at the asphalt. Beautiful tailpipes on these vehicles, and look, lots of vents and details, all kinds of goodness here. Low profile tail lights here, as well you can see the 21 model like this versus the older version in 20 series here. And realistically, 21 is where you're at the point of the warranty just running out. So if I would suggest, look at the 21 model, step up to the twin turbo if you can. Worst case, you can get the all-wheel drive version, and these cars are literal hot rods with screaming reliability you just can't ignore. And this one's got another leg up over some of the competition like Infiniti and even Acura, for example. Why? Because a lot of these vehicles by Lexus, as you see right here, are rear-wheel drive. They have timing chains. On top of it, they actually have a reliability that's virtually unmatched by any other manufacturer. But there's a lot of great nuances here. Clearly, we're looking at an F Sport package. We've got some carbon fiber wing, and it's a Lexus, as I already mentioned. This is the all-wheel drive IS350, and of course, LED lights, beautiful gunmetal wheels, simple little handles. They feel a little bit Toyota-ish, but of course, you get a sunroof and all of the amenities inside there. It's a beautiful vehicle. I mean, look, I love the headlights on these projector lamps. I love the little checkmark lights that you see right here. And of course, big, beautiful, big mouth grille. Lots of detail in there. Absolutely amazing to look at. It's a good looking unit. I mean, even look down the side, you have this great rocker panel that juts out. It's a gorgeous looking vehicle. But you can get, for 2021, which would mean it would be just outside of warranty, you can get yourself a rear-wheel drive IS300, which is a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder engine that makes about 241 horsepower. Personally, I go for the IS350 like this because this gives you this beautiful 8-speed automatic transmission coupled up to a 311 horsepower naturally aspirated 3.5-liter V6. Absolutely breathtaking performance. And while it's not quite as brisk as the likes of some of its competitors by the BMW with the B58 and the 40 series engines, it does very, very well. It's got a great chassis, it handles well, it sounds amazing when you get the revs up, and it's just ultra reliable. Port and fuel injection on these V6s. A lot of other manufacturers aren't doing that. Why? Direct injection allows you to meter the fueling just properly. But what you end up doing is carboning up. Then, of course, with the port injection, allows the fuel wash to go behind the intake valves to clean the valves so you don't have carbon messing up this whole system. So in other words, Lexus thinks about these things. And they also don't change frequently. When they have a winner like a vehicle like this with the IS350 and the 3.5-liter V6, they often don't give that up without a serious fight. So the Lexus IS350, definitely for the win, and one I would have no problems in owning this, and it will probably last for 300,000 or 400,000 miles. No issues outside of warranty. And here's the next vehicle that ranks as one of the more reliable models in the luxury car segment, and we're talking about the big brother to the Hyundai brand. And we know that Hyundai's had some spotty reputation for durability with some of the rod bearing problems manufacturing. Some of those were actually done in the United States assembly facilities, and some people in Europe and across the globe actually say that some of their Hyundais and Kias are top shelf for reliability. Whatever you say, the bottom line is what we have here is their upscale brand, and it's Genesis. As we can see right here, they have a very interesting looking design theme, beautiful headlights. I love the grille, looks very British, if you will, especially with the wings right there. It has a very British feel to it. Laser cut rims, beautiful little deals like this, as well as the flip away with LEDs. Of course, lots of big sunroof action on top, looks great. And as well, we have this beautiful chrome detail along here. Little handles, pretty basic and standard. Circle around and we see Genesis right here. And this is a 3.3 turbo 4-wheel drive, and it's a G70. Now the G70 has had some mixed reviews. Most reviewers give it a green light and say that it has a strong reliability record. And when you compare it to some of the big British and German brands, I would say that's generally quite true. Now, nothing's perfect, and as soon as you start applying turbocharging to any engine, you risk reliability. Why do you think Lexus has resisted turbocharged engines for so long and stuck with some of their 2.5 liter as well as their 3.5 liter engines for as long as they did? Now they've switched, now they're seeing a few troubles. This one here, a couple of issues they talk about: weak brakes that make noise and some problems with that activating properly ABS system. A few electric gremlins. The big one is the oil supply pipe to the turbo has been known to crack and split and potentially spew oil over the turbo and the hot exhaust manifold. There's clearly a potential for fire in that situation, but it is a recall, and it is promised to get that swapped out. Toot sweet. If you have one of these cars, a G70, they basically have to take it to the dealer. They'll swap it out for you with a stainless version, and Bob's your uncle. Other than that, generally speaking, most customers are fairly happy with the G70, and when you're comparing it to some of the big players, Mercedes, BMW, Jaguar, Land Rover, this is actually more reliable than most of them. And even the technology rarely lets you down with heads-up display, sunroof, power, heated, everything. So what's the next vehicle that I would consider owning well beyond the warranty period? Well, it's not this one necessarily, although these Lexus vehicles are very reliable. It's actually this vehicle right here. We're talking about a Porsche 911. They have some of the best depreciation, or least amount of depreciation, of any car in the market, specifically in the luxury car segment where most of those vehicles fall off a cliff. But these vehicles actually have a durability and a reliability about them that very few cars can match. Sure, while vehicles like Lexus are great, when you drive them idly along in the city, they'll last for hundreds of thousands of miles. But no vehicle can take the abuse and hard driving like a Porsche 911 can and still keep on going. These are very, very reliable vehicles, and I love a Porsche 911. I've had several myself over the years just because they're fun. They're the most raw sports cars available, and you just can't go wrong. I mean, with these great little mirrors, obviously you've got these great details. Look at this beautiful unit. How about these flared fenders? Absolutely looks gorgeous, very beefy. Love these wheels here, and of course you always have cross-drilled rotors on these vehicles. One-touch accent in. You do have a big sliding sunroof on this late generation Porsche 911. Beautiful black calipers. Everything on a Porsche is designed to last. I'm friends with a person who's actually good friends with somebody that runs the R&D at Porsche factory. They take these cars to the frozen Arctic, to the heats of the desert. They try them in all conditions, trials and tribulations, and the cars can take the heat. They're well made, they're well constructed. Yes, the parts are pricey. Expect that. They will cost you a lot of money to fix, but they will definitely hold up. They're well made in most cases. And look, you get this beautiful vent, set of dual exhaust tips on the back. Love this style of tail light. We're talking about 991 generation, but it's probably the 992 generation that you're more likely going to be looking at if you're buying something that's 3 years old. And you can of course get a whole variety of Porsche 911s. You can get base 911 Carreras, Carrera S's, 4S's, four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, GT3s and GT2 RS's. There's cabriolets, Targas, coupes like this. You literally have a flavor for every day of the week. But one thing that is consistent, it's the platform. Lightweight on the front, you have the weight on the back. Because it's a rear engine car, you actually have the gearbox transaxle here across the back wheels, and the engine hangs out at the back, meaning that's consistent, and it's always been like that in a Porsche 911 world. It's always going to be one of those vehicles that you own these, you can definitely know that you're keeping your value. Even if you are putting a pricey maintenance and repairs into it, it's always going to have some value. It's not pouring money down the proverbial money pit. Porsche 911, definitely the base Carreras come with a 3-liter twin turbo 6. But what about the turbo? Yeah, 3.6, 3.8s. You can get the bigger displacement turbos or go into the turbo cars. And of course, the GT3s are high revving, naturally aspirated cars that are made for the track. GT3 RS, even more extreme. You also get either a manual gearbox or you can get a PDK, that's their double clutch gearbox. Very robust, fun to drive, and you'll definitely get your money's worth out of a Porsche 911. Now the next one in line is this hot rod right here, dressed in black. Now it's not the most reliable, and when you park this next to an LS500 Lexus, I've got to warn you, there's a caveat, it's not going to be quite as reliable, but if you're looking for something a little bit more alternative, you want something more European flavored, this might be your bet. It's still a relatively reliable vehicle, but it's a complex little so-and-so. I mean, there's a lot of technology buried under the hood of this vehicle. It's a beautiful ride. I mean, Volvo's done a lot of great things with their headlight designs. Of course, their grille is a lot more low profile. The vehicle definitely has a lot more sporting intentions. You've got laser cut wheels there. Beautiful fold-away mirrors with LEDs. And of course, look at the two-tone handles. Absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful oversized sunroof on this vehicle as well. And as you look around the back, you have this LED gorgeous finishing here. We're dealing with the S90, which is a beautiful rig. The S90 is the big daddy. So a big part of some of the failure mode on these vehicles that can cause problems are coolant leaks. If you don't take care of that, check engine lights. Also, the automatic emergency braking system has been known to fail. Usually it's a firmware or software change, and that can get that all sorted out, and then you're good to go. There's also conversation about some vibration and noise in the cabin in some models. The older versions, if you're talking maybe a 2015, 2016, vibration vibration in the chassis can be a problem. Rear vibration and shudder in the wheels. But otherwise, with the turbocharged, supercharged, and mild hybrid drivetrain, that means it's a very complex drivetrain at the best of times, and there's lots going on, lots to fail. But fortunately, many owners of the S90, like we're looking at right here, are very satisfied with this. Gets great performance. Even though it doesn't have blistering performance, 0 to 60, 6.5 seconds. It's as quick as a full-size luxury car needs to be. It's that mild hybrid that gets things off the line nice and briskly. Yes, it's a gorgeous ride. And if you're looking for something a little bit more alternative from the Germans, or even possibly from what we're talking the Japanese cars, this might be a great place to start and stop if you're looking for something reasonably reliable in the luxury car segment. And the next vehicle on my list of vehicles that I would probably be willing to risk owning outside of warranty would be this little unit here. Now, I know I've spoken a lot about Mercedes-Benz recently, and a lot of their late model cars aren't necessarily the most rugged. You know, they have body panel issues and fitment problems, and as well some cosmetic parts that are known to fall off. I mean, we own a C-Class Mercedes and we've had body panels come unfastened, and if you don't have a good strong battery, you can have check engine lights and other electrical gremlins. But the fact remains is, most Mercedes-Benz, the simpler you get, the better off you get. Stay away from air ride suspension systems like the GLEs and the E-Class, S-Class. Those are the ones that are going to cost you a little more money to keep up, and they're going to be a nightmare once you run out of warranty if parts start to break. But base models like this, the C-Class isn't bad. If you keep a good battery, do your maintenance, and just look after it, it'll hold up. But the CLA is even simpler. With a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder engine, these make about 200 horsepower, and the beauty is they actually have a double clutch gearbox. The downside is they're predominantly a front-wheel drive unless you get the 4-wheel drive upgrade in the 4MATIC. Then of course you get all-wheel drive like some of the other models, so it's really more of a base model, stripped out, no frills type of Mercedes-Benz. But because of that, it's actually relatively affordable to maintain. I mean, we look at here, we do have an old school style of headlight, not as fancy as some of the other Mercedes. You do get the big bold Mercedes 3-point star. It does look attractive from the front, and I do personally like the design theme of these vehicles. You do get laser cut wheels on there, and as well, look, you get the old school mirrors. These have changed in later models, of course. You can get a sunroof. This one's pretty base, and as well you can get chrome trim all the way around the windows. Beautiful little basic handles. But I do personally like the way this flows. The back end of this, it almost looks like a shrunken CLS. It actually looks quite sharp. Of course, the later models also have a nicer upgraded LED style of taillights, but that works. And of course, you do get a set of real tailpipes, unlike a lot of the modern day vehicles these days. So it's an attractive little vehicle, easy to own and operate because it's a 4-cylinder engine. Gets great fuel economy, it's fun to drive, and it's a little rough and abrasive because it's a base model. The suspension is tuned a little bit more sturdy. The dual clutch gearbox means it's going to be a little sharper and a little less refined, but at the end of the day, it's a fun car to own. It's great on fuel, and when parts break, they're not astronomical. Yeah, there have been some problems with the sunroof equipped vehicles, sunroofs coming off the rails, some electrical gremlins. As I said, some of that can be attested to poor battery power. You just got to stay on top of your maintenance. But because it's such a simple engine with that 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo, the turbo's accessible, the cooling systems are accessible, and everything's quite simple on these vehicles to maintain. So it's definitely a vehicle that I wouldn't be shy to own outside of warranty just because of its sheer simplicity. And that's the key when you're buying these upscale German brands. Now here's the next model that definitely you can do with taking the risk on buying and owning it outside of warranty. It's a 2021 model of this particular unit right here. Well, clearly you can see the little Lexus logo on the bottom, but what is this? Well, let's take a quick look around and I'll explain some of the basic specifications and how is it in fact Lexus keeps these on the road for so long with little muss and virtually no fuss. We're basically here we have an F Sport, so that just gives you a little extra trim upgrades and a few minor performance enhancements. Beautiful piano gloss finishing here. Love this detail around here, all that nice brushed chrome look here, and it leads up to a beautiful set of lovely headlights here. As you can see, it just sculpts around nicely, perfectly. It's even branded with the Lexus logo on there, and it has all of this black chrome on here, which does looks like it starts to fade after a little while. You can start to see some of the mess on there. It takes a little extra elbow grease to clean that, but we do have the big grille. Absolutely gorgeous vehicle. Then of course more vents, beautiful LC500 style mirrors, and of course easy access in there, and of course a sunroof to boot. But this Lexus is not necessarily like the IS or some of their sportier variants. This is a lap of luxury cruiser. Literally, you're going to coast along in this in the most reliable luxury vehicle that Lexus even makes. This is it right here. And what is it? Well, clearly this one is an ES 350 And look, it has all that beautiful detail along the back. But what's so great about the 350? Well, the ES comes in a few different models. You can get an ES 250, nobody buys that. That's a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, makes about 203 horsepower, not enough power. You do get the 10-speed automatic transmission, but it also comes with a potential to get a 4-cylinder and a hybrid, so you can get a hybrid version. And of course, the step up like this is the ES 350, gets you into 3.5 liter V6, but they do something a little different. Unlike a lot of European luxury vehicles, this beautiful Lexus ES 350 has primarily driven by the front wheels. That's right, folks, this is front wheel drive, so there's no rear drive here to cause extra wear and tear or any other components to fail. It's simple and yet it's luxurious. But that engine is so delicious and so charming. And I've driven many different Lexus vehicles, the ES, the IS, the RC, all these vehicles with that 3.5 liter V6. And what's nice about it is it's very linear, it's progressive, has a great power band, of course, as you rev it up, and it sounds sonorous, it's beautiful, sounds just wonderful. The great thing about it is Lexus doesn't forget about reliability. They don't care about performance first, they're actually well round their vehicles. Performance is equal, if not slightly less important than likely even the reliability. And that 3.5 liter V6 has port and fuel injection, meaning direct injection gets you all the metering, the best performance, as well as the best throttle response, and port injection floods the back sides of the intake valve so you don't get carbon fouling. You also have timing chains in there, no timing belts on these vehicles, and there's very little that actually ever goes wrong on these Lexus ES vehicles. They're voted literally one of the most reliable vehicles on the planet, not just for Lexus, on the planet. So I would have no issue in driving a Lexus ES 350 well beyond the warranty. And here's the next one in line. That's one of the most reliable cars you're going to find in the luxury car segment that you probably don't need to panic about having a warranty. Obviously, it's a BMW, as we can see, has some great lines here. I love this revised style taillight. It does come X-Drive, so that means it's all-wheel drive. You get some great details like this little vent right here. I love these new headlights, Liberace style right there. Somebody went and clapped these, nice little aftermarket piece. And as well, the latest and greatest, they tried to simulate the latest decal by BMW. But it's not just about that. You do get heads-up display, you do get big sunroof, you do get lots of room in the cabin for lots of happy, friendly people. This comes also with the ZF 8-speed automatic transmission under here that you can shift either paddles or on the dash or on the console. Very easy to use, fun, friendly, and very reliable. The ZF 8-speed automatic is one of the best. BMW has done a lot of great things in recent years to improve their reliability. They have had a lot of struggles with some of their V8 engines, and even the Turbo 6s like the N54 or the N55s were a real struggle. But things have changed a lot in this latest generation, and this one here packs a lot of punch with about 380 horsepower package under the hood with a turbocharged 3 liter 6-cylinder engine. And of course, not just all the quality detailing, but this is called the 540i, as you can see, and the 40 designation basically means it carries that 3 liter twin scroll single turbo 6-cylinder engine, and again, it's one of their workhorses. Yes, it has a lot of great updates under the hood. It has vast improvements around the cooling system. Water pump now is mechanical, so less likely for that $1,200 repair to come around every 50,000 miles than the old piezo injectors you found from the N54. Direct injected means lots of power. You do potentially get a little carbon fouling, but this engine's powerful. It also has a stronger, more beefed up bottom engine, crankshaft assembly. It also has heat encapsulation, so the ups and downs of extreme temperature inside and the outside doesn't have such a huge differential, because it's that swing, that temperature swing, that has a big impact on plastics and gaskets starting to crack or leak, and now you have less of that problem with this engine. There's also a lot of people boosting these, taking a lot of boost and performance to these engines and them holding up, and they have huge potential. The B58 engine under this hood is literally one of BMW's best, even still today, and only engine might be slightly better is the S55, the old M3 engine, or the S58, which is the M version of this. Otherwise, this is one of the best luxury cars. You don't need to worry so much about warranty. And with all of that said, right there, 24's most reliable vehicles. Hope to see each and every one of you on the next one. We'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.